So in this video, we're going to talk about anxiety and the exam. And technically, as it relates to the PMP exam, is going to be my main focus, but this could relate to any exam. It could relate to any sort of thing in life, but generally we're going to be talking about it in the context of an exam, and specifically the PMP exam. Now, I want to clarify something here. This distribution you see on the screen, if you were to Google anxiety distribution and pull it up, you're actually going to see where there'd be 4 quadrants typically. So the bulk of the distribution in the middle would actually be in 2 pieces. And so I'm going to look at this a little different, but because between the vertical lines there, to me, is a really good place to be. You know, yeah, you're kind of, if you think about it, it's not quite pure statistics, this example, but as you're ramping up to get tested, you know, as you're kind of coming down, that's when you're getting tested. So that, again, that's not the exact intent of this distribution here, but the analogy of, I'm getting ramped up, and, as you're kind of hitting that peak, it's a good time to go take the test. Now, I want to talk briefly about this. So, if you don't suffer from anxiety on the test, you might find yourself kind of going, yeah, I'm going to move on to the next video, Tony. But if you've ever suffered from anxiety on the test, maybe you failed the test already and you're afraid to go back in, or you got in there and it really rattled you and you don't want to repeat that, this is probably a good video to watch and maybe really ponder on. So here's the deal. When we were hunters and gatherers, we had a thing called fight or flight. And I'm not going to beat that to death, but the bottom line is, like if you were a hunter and you were out hunting bear to try to feed your family, you paid attention to what's going on around you because you didn't want a bear to sneak up on you. And you also, you needed to be able to sneak up on the bear to feed your family. So your fight or flight needed to be better than the bear. And that PMP exam can be a real bear in the modern era. So if you were sitting there sleeping next to a tree, that bear might have came up to you and sniffed you and said, I bet he tastes like chicken. And that's where you got too little commitment. Versus, you're out in the middle of who knows what, and you're going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, there's bears everywhere, and maybe you don't even see them, but you just feel like there are. So we're going to talk about the 2 tails, the 2 ends of this distribution, and we'll talk about the middle. Now, I'm going to use a couple of examples here, or maybe 3 examples. We'll see how this plays out, but this too little commitment. As an example, I remember one of my current students. She had failed the test twice before she ever met me. So the first time she took the test, she had class, she had class somehow, somewhere, and basically was told, you need to be PMP certified. And she just said, yeah, I'm a project manager. No, you need to be certified. So she thought, yeah, okay, formality. Submitted the application, paid for the test, went and took the test, and she said pretty quickly it was obvious to her she should have really studied for that. So she didn't give it the attention it needed. Kind of like you might do in studying roles and organizations for the new exam, as opposed to how you might study earned value. Earned value, you're probably going to give it a little more attention because you've heard it's hard to get your arms around. But roles and orgs, you might be like, yeah, whatever. Okay. So too little commitment, that's not a good spot, because that doesn't mean that means you're not giving it the attention it needs. Now on the other side, the other tail on the other side of that distribution, that's where you're having extreme panic. The oh my God, 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 oh my God. And that, no, I won't say that again for you. But if that's what you feel like when you do a practice test or when you took the real test, if you didn't pass, this video definitely is for you. Now, I don't want you to be in oh my God mode, because what's going to happen there is you're going to have this fog about you of anxiety, and I don't care how well you know this stuff. If this fog of anxiety is clouding things – in the exam environment, you're not going to perform well. And you might be saying, yeah, but Tony, when I do practice tests, I have anxiety. When I took the test the first time, I had anxiety. Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. We'll talk about that momentarily here. Now, let me say, if you suffer from anxiety, and I don't just mean test anxiety, but I mean, I don't know if clinical is the right way to say it or not, but like about 12 years ago, I had cancer and I lost something in my throat, and one of the side effects of what I lost was anxiety tends to be, if you didn't have issues with it before, it's kind of a characteristic after you lose the thing I lost in my throat. So I have some medicine for that I take, and it helps. So if you do suffer from it and a doctor has you on it and you're getting ready to do this PMP exam, make sure that you got a good dosage. I'll say also, I had a student that was later diagnosed with ADD, and I couldn't get her to pass the test the first couple of times she took it. She started getting on the ADD medicine after being diagnosed, and boom, she knocked it out of the park. And it was like night and day. So if you do have a medical situation, don't try to circumvent it. You're not going to, this test will exploit that. Now let's talk about the middle. So I had a weekend class that just ended, and I had a lady in it that had taken my class probably 3 times over the last year and a half. And, she sat in and just tried to pick it up. Life and work would get crazy. She'd get out of sync with study, and then she'd jump back in, and we were happy to help her. But she shot me a private chat message on our virtual tool we were using right before everybody online started their exit exam at the end of the class. And she basically said, I'm so nervous, I'm shaking. So she was in this shutdown, extreme panic mode, and this was just the practice test. Well, she'd failed it once before. Her work was wanting her to get it done to get a performance review, and it was this arbitrary, you got to have it done by this date for the performance review. That's a really good recipe for success, by the way. Let's totally pull a date out of the air, keep you busy with work until you make this happen, or we're going to hold it against you. Yeah, if you're a boss, don't do that to your employees. To be blunt, you suck. Unless somebody up top is telling you to do that. I mean, just give people a good environment to win. Now, what I did is I pulled up the anxiety distribution on Google because I hadn't drawn this video or drawn this graphic for this video yet. And I didn't call her out, but I just reminded everybody, remember, you guys have earned the right to be between these lines and between these vertical lines. It's where you expect to be, and that's what we're going to talk about now. Now, your fight or flight is kicking in if you're between those two vertical lines, because that means you're paying attention. To use my hunter analogy, you're watching out for the bear, because you don't want the bear to eat you, and you got a family to feed. And so you're paying attention, you're doing the right things, and you expect some discomfort. Kind of like that caterpillar that seals itself up in a cocoon, and when it kind of wakes up, it starts stretching its arms, and all of a sudden, those arms turn into wings, and then those wings are strong enough that it's starting to do this, and then all of a sudden it breaks out of that little cocoon. And if I got some of those words wrong, give me a little flexibility here, if you will, but the analogy of it is what I'm after there. And, so where I'm going with that is getting out of that comfort zone. You're not going to do that comfortably. You're going to have a little bit of discomfort. You're going to have a little uncertainty. You're going to have a little, am I doing the right thing? I think I am. I've tried this. I've practiced this. I sure hope I am. That's a good spot. That means you're growing. So if you have that gut feel discomfort, recognize it, respect it. It means you're alive. You're in a good spot. Now, like the student that was telling me, I'm so nervous, I'm shaking. When we got done with the exit exam and her and I were talking, she had a test date coming up, and it was relatively close because her employer had arbitrarily put a date in the ground, as far as like a stake in the ground type thing that she was trying to work to. And I told her something originally that she needed to hear, but if you took it out of context, it sounded horrible. And what I said was, I don't know that you are capable of studying between now and when your test date is to be able to pass the test. I think if you studied until now, until your test, I don't think you're capable of passing. Now, if you just take that, that sounds horrible coming from a trainer and a coach. Like, how dare you, Tony? You know, and I told her, I said, I'm not going to apologize for telling you what you need to hear. You know, I might apologize if you feel I stepped out of line, but I'm not going to apologize for telling you what you needed to hear. But I followed it up with, immediately with, here's why I don't think you can do this. Here's a glass ceiling, and it's the PMP room right above you. And you're looking at it, and you're seeing coworkers there, you're seeing me up there, your classmates that have passed there, and you're going, I want to be there. But I don't know why I can't get you to punch through that glass ceiling and enter that room. And so I used the 5 why technique, you know, and ultimately after about 4 or 5 whys, what we discovered is basically she was trying to get into a private high school that her parents wanted her to go to when she was like 13. And so they gave her a book, said, get ready for this entrance exam. And it didn't go well, apparently, and they gave her a lot of grief. And there were some other things as well related to that, but they gave her a lot of grief. And she said ever since then, anytime there's any sort of standardized test, she just melts. And I said, okay, that's a good spot to be. Like, I'm peeling back these layers, and I feel like I'm looking at what the core problem is, not the symptom. And where I'm going with that is if you have anxiety, and it's greater than just this fight or flight, I want you to do this for yourself. Look in the mirror at yourself and say, what is it that's keeping me from punching through that glass ceiling and getting into that PMP room? You know, and I told her when we were done talking, I said, you know, toward the end, I said, you know, there's a lot, to be blunt, there's a lot of crap that's been put on that 13-year-old girl over these years. And I feel like we've all of a sudden ripped something open and we're looking at this innocent little 13-year-old girl going, I'm afraid to fail. And I don't know that we can undo all those years of paradigm shift between now and when you have your test date. You know, so, you know, but we're going to do everything we can with that. And so where I'm going with that is focus on what is causing you to go, why am I like this? Because there's got to be something. You know, just dig deep inside you. And it could go way back. I admit, I'm the skinniest kid in the class with asthma. As long as I am alive, unless I lose my mind, I'm always going to be the skinniest kid in the class with asthma. I got picked on a lot. I was told I was stupid, I was too skinny, I was this, I was that. Yeah, I've written 41 books, and I've helped contribute to over 10% of the PMPs on planet Earth between classes and product sales. So how's that working for being the skinniest kid in the class with asthma? I play that as a strength now, and I say you never bet against that. So if you have your own equivalent of, you know, something didn't go well when I was in high school, or, I disappointed somebody here or there, play the card. You know, use that to prove somebody wrong. You know, buck up, put your back stiff, and go, bring it, let's go. Now, here's another thing. Don't tell everybody you work with when your test date is. It's not their business. They all have good intentions, but all it does is start to add weight on your shoulders. So what I want you to do, whoever you cohabitate with, and your coach/trainer, like me, for example, keep us in the loop. So you've got support at home, and your coach/trainer is ensuring you're where you need to be. You know, I'm going to quote the great industrial psychologist Jimmy Johnson. You might go, Jimmy Johnson, the NASCAR driver? No, the former Dallas Cowboys coach. He's actually an industrial psychologist by degree, and he basically said, I believe in treating everybody the same, like they need to be treated. So ask yourself, how do you need to be treated to get the optimal outcome? You know, and if you have to peel back the layers to get to some younger version of you and then build that up, rock on, you know, and make the most of it. Anyway, that's what I've got here. Again, this was a bit of a long one, but if this is an issue for you, you're probably going, give me some more, Tony. But feel free to shoot me any emails, info@crosswindpm.com if I can help with anything in this area. I have gotten really good at getting to the core, core issues with people that, helping them maximize performance, value, etc. So anyway, feel free to subscribe and check out more of our videos. Thank you.